Right guys and girls, Mark Crossfield here. We've got the brand new Titleist T100 irons. T100, looking very similar to what went before. I'm sure there'll be some subtle differences. We'll talk about what this club could do for your golf, where it sits in the range of new Titleist irons that are going to be released. Also, I'll talk, this is an individual video for just the T100. There will be individual ones for each iron as well as a collective. T100 forged, looking Titleist, yummy as you would expect. I reckon turf interaction might be a phrase that might be used a bit in this video. So I've got the 5-iron in my hands to kick me off. Wowzers. That is very nice. Without looking at the prior model, this looks more slender. It almost has that Titleist. It's a visual thing. It isn't, but it looks like it's almost bowing out. It's so slender, which is a nice thing. Like, that is looking super, super yummy. I do feel it might look a little thin for the amount of people who actually want to play this iron, and that's where maybe the 200 might start coming in more as a club that the average golfer looks at, maybe less than this one, or even a combo of the two, because you've got the T100, T100S's, stronger lofted versions of these, because remember these are truer lofted in the T100, so they are very Tour inspired. And then you've got the 300 and some U irons as well. So this is sitting right at the pinnacle. Now what's interesting with this release this time is that we're not getting CB and MBs. They're going to be moved on. You could say pandemic possibly, but for the amount of times all these companies change their irons, I think changing a blade and like a semi blade in the CB and MB, really what difference are you making? Those clubs could last 4 years on a cycle because they just, like, the tech's not really moving on in them, so I get that. But that is a standout looker right there. Like, that is just, yeah, looks great. We'll hit it 200 yards. It's a good 5-iron for me. Let's see how it feels. Remember, this one has the tungsten in because we're in the 5-iron, so we have got tungsten in these, which comes out, I think, in an 8-iron down, but we'll do the tech as we go. Oh yeah, that feels so nice, as expected. Oh, that's a good shot. Lovely high. It was a true flight for what you'd expect from this kind of club. I mean, does T100 have to change that much? Maybe post in the comments down below. I don't think it does. The fact that it's possibly, or it looks to me, a bit slimmer, I think that's maybe pushing people more into wanting to, like, to spread their sales maybe against the 200 and the 100. I don't know, but that felt very good. So 7-irons in my hand next. I've actually got the S and the standard 100, and when I look at these down at the ground, again, there's not much in it. I mean, I do see it looking slightly stronger lofted, but I don't know how much of that is me just knowing it is and working it in. It does look that bit stronger lofted, but for all intents and purposes, pretty much exactly the same, which is exactly what you would want. So I'm going to say that I don't know which one's which because they're all exactly the same spec. I think this is the standard, which it is, and this is the S. I reckon I could choose the stronger lofted one just on those looks a bit more. As in, not choose it as in it's my favourite, choose it as in I can see that it's a stronger lofted version of the standard. 7-iron, beautiful little shape, not very long blade length, next to no offset, that thin top line again. I mean, it is just beautiful looking. And in this bracket of club, so if we call this blade and everything, it looks like this way, but with help this way, there aren't many clubs out there that will compete with this for the combination of looks and feel. Like, it does tick a lot of boxes. Yeah, and that's a nice true flight, left side, left front of the green. Let's just hit one with the S as well. I use my divide ball here. Let's see if we can get an equivalent strike, just show you the push on in distance or not. I mean, that felt like the 5-iron. It felt, you know, forged, beautiful, soft. I mean, they are identical. Same line, same strike. Let's see where those are finished. In theory, I mean, it's just loft, isn't it? That's stronger loft. If it's delivered with a stronger loft, there's no magic or tech or science. It just will go further. I'll go and see where those finished. Why don't you go and look at the tech? They look great. What else would you expect? They feel amazing. So Titleist are calling the T100 the modern tour iron. Who is it for? They say it's for better players who are looking for precision, control and unrivaled feel. You gotta remember this iron is played by more players on tour than any other iron, which Titleist obviously are very proud of. It is a club that gets into so many players' bag. The shape is blade like at address, thin top line, minimal offset, traditional loft. So we do get traditional lofts. Remember, we do have the S for the stronger lofted version of this club as well. So the T100S. It's fully forged, dual cavity supported face construction. Heel and toe tungsten for incredible stability and impact is what Titleist are saying. So it's a dual cavity construction. The 3 to 7 irons have a new denser tungsten weight. The 8 to wedge are no tungsten in them, and they're one piece forged 1025 carbon steel. Here we go, new tour design soles, variable bounce designs, less bounce in heel, more bounce in toe. And there it is, improved turf interaction. I'd expect nothing else from Titleist. Better tungsten for better balance, denser tungsten through these, enhanced MOI and precision CG placement. So as you would expect from Titleist, it's a good balance of precise, good-looking, tour-inspired ideas with a fair amount of tech in it. So this is the S, the two-tone ball, and just shy of the bunker up there, I don't know if you can see that on the fringe, is the standard one. Exactly as I'd expect, one just getting back a bit further than the other. It's just loft, isn't it? It's just a stronger loft. So in all intents and purposes, it feels like the same club, which you would want. That's a good thing. Right, turf interaction. This term, and Titleist have had it in their marketing part of their irons for as long as I've reviewed irons, I reckon. I've been on tour ranges when they've seeded these irons with players, and turf interaction is a phrase that they definitely use. There's a part of me that wonders if they use it because they're not sure what else they say and they know Titleist like that phrase. You know, so they're talking about what they do with the sole for how it gets in and gets out of the turf. Can you actually feel that through different turfs? Well, I use very different soled irons, much fatter at the minute, and I wouldn't say I feel much of a difference. And I've used most spectrum. Now this isn't a put down to Titleist because like they've got to say something. It's a part of the club where, you know, there's an element of design. My Strixon irons have a V sole. It's something they really market. They all do it. I think my main point is more if you are going and trying and reading into the turf interaction that probably every reviewer's mentioning, but then can't feel it, I wouldn't worry about that. Don't think, oh no, I can't feel the turf reaction, or the interaction with the turf means nothing to me, because I wouldn't be able to actually pinpoint what it really means, to be fair. Do they feel great? Yeah. Do they feel solid? Yes. Does it feel like that divot was any different to any other club? Not really, it doesn't. Let's quickly go and look at the numbers, because they're true, they're going to be true, aren't they? But let's check them out anyway. So if we look at the difference between two irons, interestingly the ball speed stayed similar on these two batch of shots. I would have to hit a lot of shots, I think, to really start separating them. I'd imagine I would see 1 mile an hour from the different loft. We're seeing 800 less revs of spin, so 6.8 with the standard, with the S, so I'm comparing this to the T100S and the T100, 6,029, so there's definitely a jump in the spin which will come from that lower loft, and then also it's just edging on 2 more yards with a bit more standard deviation as well, and you can see that from the red. Look, you can just pump some out there. You know, you're getting 4 to 6. I reckon on average, if you just kept hit enough shots, you would see between 4 to 8 yards difference between these two clubs. So it's a fitting option without them having to bend it in the S. For all intents and purposes, it's the same club. It just is, I mean, you can see that from the dispersion, the shape shots, everything's the same. It's just pushing on that fraction further. And loft is just true. You know, loft does what it does. The slightly longer, the slightly stronger lofted version is pushing on. But look at the T100. I mean, you don't get truer than that. 162 average, 7 iron I was hitting here. 168, nearly 7,000. That's over 7,000 spin outside. So arguably, Very, very high spinning for me, that, you know, which is what good players often are looking for. Good club, good numbers as expected, and a T100s there for people who don't want to just whack with a bend in the kink in the neck with the different lofts. I think two good options. That's what I like about Titleist and other companies. There's not surprises in the numbers. It's when you get surprises in the numbers that I think there's a problem. In theory, there shouldn't be any more surprises unless technologies or rules change. We're kind of there. Good, solid irons, aren't they? So who could game these clubs? To be honest with you, I think anyone could. And I certainly think anyone could if you start comboing in the irons where you lose a bit of launch. I mean, the 5-iron here, I definitely would be going for a chunkier 5-iron to blend more with my hybrids. But in the low irons, absolutely could put them in. Do they feel as good as any Titleist I've hit before or better? They feel as good. I don't think a Titleist has ever really felt particularly bad. Do they look great? Yes. They look a bit more slender? Yes. Is the turf interaction just perfect? Come on. Is there a negative in the irons? Well, I mean, if you've got T100s already, I can't imagine you would be swapping to these unless you are a complete equipment junkie, which is cool. Like, you junk away on equipment, I'm not going to judge you, whatever you want. But absolutely, I wouldn't see any difference with these to the ones I gamed 2 years ago, say. Or however many years ago. Do years count anymore after the pandemic? Because I don't know what year we're in, isn't it? Do they feel solid? Do they do what I expect when I hit them? Absolutely. Absolutely do. Can I play whatever shot I want to play with them? I mean, the 9-iron here looks as good as the rest. It looks absolutely gorgeous, to be fair. I could play a hard one, a soft one, a cut up one. Like, you do does make you feel like, with the shape of them, the way they look, like you could do anything. Hard to find a negative, to be fair. The negative might be more that if you've already got last year's, not that they're last year's, but the last model, they might not be applicable to you unless you do want to just change the shape. But I mean, they're doing what Titleists do, what you expect, what you need them to do. Little bit of marketing guff like everyone, but good honest clubs in my opinion. Post comments down below, let me know, are you a Titleist gamer or not? How far back do you go, and would you consider testing these? I think if you want that kind of friendly blade, for want of a better word, not quite game improvement, not quite true blade, but definitely blending between the two, has to be on the test list, doesn't it? It just is good. Comments down below, what do you reckon? Would you be testing them?